Hello everyone and welcome back to another brand new GP Bytes video. Today we are back for round 1 of the Mesgp World Super Sport 24 kind of mini championship. We have a 4-round championship, 2 races per round, and here we are today at the world famous Mamelo in Barcelona, Circuit de Catalunya, one of my probably all-time favourite tracks. Absolutely love this place, and we are aboard, of course, the R6 as you can see on screen now. Coming from last week's racing in Germany and I suppose finishing up in Macau on the Fireblade, it was a bit of a change to quickly kind of turn around to get a league race ready for the following Saturday after racing Sunday of last week. So it was a bit of a culture shock jumping from that 2017 Superbike back to a modern day Super Sport bike. There was a bit of a kind of picking up phase again because it took me some time to get up to speed. And coming into the actual race weekend, we are racing the first race here on a Saturday, have qualifying practice all as normal on Saturday, and then we have it all again on Sunday. So coming into the actual, before we even got to the race weekend, didn't have much pace at all. It was about 1.5 off the real fast guy, so it was looking like it was taking a bit of time adapting. But once we got into the actual online session, in practice went round and round and round us from so much pace, it just started to click for me. Just before the first practice on Saturday, I made a bit of a bold setup change and it seemed to play off really well. We have a little bit of time left here in qualifying, and there was a guy behind me a little bit slower than me, so I thought let's take a gamble, let's let him through and see can we get a good slingshot out of the last corner, get onto his back wheel and then get a beautiful run down. So we're after getting a beautiful slipstream here. You can see the delta in a second, the big chunk of green, and we're on the wall already by nearly a quarter of a second before we even got to the turn 1 braking zone. We jump now to the end of the lap. We're already on pole, slightly ahead of our teammate Foxer Boxer. We're just less than a 10 behind into the last corner. Overall, it's been a better lap, but that slingshot off the last corner in the start of the lap really helped us, and we do a 42.9. Coming into these races, my fastest was like a high 43, so the amount of time I found for me was absolutely ridiculous. And most importantly, pole position. I never get pole positions. I'm not one of those guys who can hold my breath for a lap usually. If I can do a lap, I can nearly almost match it in race trim, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. But yeah, I was absolutely over the moon, buzzing to get a pole position because I really don't get them very often. I came close a couple of times in the road racing bits, just a couple of tracks that suited me a bit better, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. But we managed to get one here, race 1 straight away. We managed to get one, so I was really happy. Here we are now on the grid. 2 red lights and we are off, and it's a messy start for a couple of people. As you can see, it's bumping and barging, and unfortunately 2 Ducatis end up tagging each other. I managed to keep ahead of my teammate Foxer and keep the lead into turn 1, so pretty much the perfect start for me. The goal was really get a head start, get straight down to turn 1, make advantage or qualifying on pole. Usually if I can get to the front of the race, I am pretty decent at managing my pace and kind of staying with it now. For this race, especially the right side of my rear tyre, I felt like I had to manage a small bit. So in the opening lap or two, so you'll see in top left corner it is 10 laps, but we actually start to be ahead of the start line. It's kind of a bit of a messiness in GP bikes, so basically we have to do an extra lap because the first lap doesn't count that we've started it. It's a whole kind of thing with GP bikes if the start lines are a bit messed up. But basically the 2 races are going to be 11 laps, even though it shows 10, so you'll see when we cross the line, the first lap doesn't actually count, and then when we cross it a second time, our lap 1 time is taken as like a 3.5 minute lap because it kind of miscalculates it. But the goal really for the first couple laps is just manage. If I kind of got the whole shot, which I did, that was the aim objective straight away, was just get a good start and get off the line and get to turn 1 first. And I must admit now, there's a couple of people missing from our lobby. A couple of people apparently by the looks of it didn't read the rules and they didn't know there was a race on Saturday, so we are missing a couple of people. So I felt like maybe the strength of field wasn't as strong. We obviously had a couple of really fast people behind me. I think top 5, top 6 is pretty strong, but the fact in the kind of championship free practice session throughout the week I was only kind of P8, P7, so the fact that we're leading the race here after taking pole position, I was really happy with. But the opening lap here has been pretty good, and you can see already 0.7 over Foxer, and Foxer by no means is any slouch. And you can see the first lap there is a 3:32 because it's a 2 lap in 1 because we didn't take the start line the right way around. So we're now at the end of lap 2 and we're going to get our first actual visual of our actual pace. We do 43.4, which is bloody ridiculously fast, and I remember right at the time thinking, shit, that's way too fast, I'm going to shred my rear tyre. And I was just worried at that point that I was going too fast because I was trying to be smooth, I was being relaxed, and it felt like I was being very smooth, but the lap time said I was going too fast, so I was kind of in a bit of a a bit of a zone there where it seems to, should I keep going, should I try back off, and we were kind of pulling a bit of time over Foxer. We are just taking a couple of tenths out of him every lap, and as you can see now we're on technically lap 7, the game shows lap 6, but we are 2.5 seconds roughly ahead of Foxer, so we have a nice little margin, but not enough that I can actually be comfortable. So we just passed that lap right at the start of the lap. I'm thinking now I just need to kind of maintain. You can see there the bike just has a little moment on entry. We go a touch wide. Unfortunately Foxer does something similar but goes a lot wider, and bullseye. So the two men that were closest to me in the race, both R6s, and unfortunately they came together, which is unfortunate. But that basically had that at that point kind of sewn the race up for me, because you'd see at the end of this lap time drops by like half a second. It was just that kind of mental switch of, and relax, the pressure's off. The kind of Foxer for me was just in that little zone behind you where he's not going to pass you if you run wide, but if you crash you will still kind of get caught. So I'm still in that point where it's like, can't afford to make a big mistake. If I go off here I'm still going to lose probably top 2 positions, and probably nearly fall off the podium. So when I saw the green flag, I saw Foxer was down, and then I only kind of realised about now that POV as well basically was another one who have to get caught up. So I was wondering, was there a collision there? Obviously at the time I didn't actually know who had what or what had happened, so it was interesting to see it back. But at this point you can see 44.5, so we like dropped a good 0.6, but it was from pretty much this point on it was a comfortable race, because the other 2 riders behind weren't really there. Any of the other fast guys seemed to kind of get caught up at the start and weren't really there to pick up the pieces from the other 2, because they crashed admittedly in a slow corner turn 5, but they didn't get past by anyone else. I think we were probably running a decent pace at the front and pulled a bit of a margin, so we ended up pretty much ahead of 4th and 5th, so that anyone did slip up we'd end up probably at the back of the group for the podium. But the 2 boys stayed in P2 and P3. But here we are now on our last lap. We're just trying to bring it home, because I did kind of mention the rear tire just started to feel a bit less confident inspiring, shall we say, after half race distance. It felt fine in the lefts, but in the long rights, Catalonia is known as a very, very tricky tyre maintenance track, just because you have to maintain the right side of your tyre. You cannot push for a whole race, and even on a 600 a lot of lap is made by kind of just getting on the power early and having the bike sit and turn with the rear. I felt early in the race, just when I saw that I was doing low 43s, I was thinking, no way, I can't be going this fast, no way the tyre will do 10 laps. But it was one of those things where I kind of got to the end of the race thinking, alright, I'm going to have to look at my tyre wear, I'm going to have a kind of a real honest stick myself. It's like I didn't get put on under any pressure from lap 6-7 onwards, after Foxer had crashed and taken out the fellow R6 rider behind him, that I pretty much ended up with a coast to the end where I think it was 10-11 seconds to the guy behind, so I even had room there for just to relax. So I felt the tyre wear wouldn't be as good, but then I was thinking to myself, what happened if I kept pushing? Would there would have been a massive drop off, because it would have been a real extreme one. You can see there a picture there of the 3 of us, the 3 FRT riders at the end. We got a 1st, 2nd and a 5th. Unfortunately Bunta didn't seem to take part in qualifying, so alas, the 5th from my team. It was a stunning ride from him, but we managed to get the win ahead of Foxer, and the fastest lap, as I believe that little asterisk next to my name stood out for. But it was a perfect opening race. 2 race wins in a matter of a week was absolutely ridiculous, after winning one in Germany last time out on the Fireblade. Now this is practice and qualifying of the Sunday race too, and immediately jumped down to a 43.7 on my first lap in practice, and I'm not too sure why, because the conditions were colder, but the pace was just absolutely ridiculous in this session. I had so much speed. My first lap in qualifying was a 43.0, and I kind of knew myself it was a kind of scruffy lap. There wasn't a couple of corners that I wasn't happy with, and currently 0.6 ahead of, again, Foxer, my teammate. And I have the live gap bar turned off at the bottom, because I don't like seeing it in qualifying, because I feel if I get a good lap in, or I'm halfway through a lap and it's green, I kind of get distracted. But into the slack sector we are well under, as you'll see in a second. We kind of get really held up in these last 2 corners just by kind of taking my line. It looks like a bit of contact there, and we do improve slightly, so I'd imagine that was probably a 42.3 or 4, and I'd say we lost a good 2 or 3 tenths in that last sector with the CBR rider. But once again, it's another pole position, 2 in 2 days. This is very, very unlikely, and it is my teammate Foxer. You can see Billy Jones now has made it for day 2, as well as one of my other teammates, Sender, in P6. So it's a much stronger field for the second and final race of the weekend. So by no means do I have another race win secured here in my opinion. So I know for Alpha Call as well, another guy there, he's in the middle of the last, in the second row there, another very fast rider on the R6. So for me, it's still a lot of work to be done, but here we are on the grid now for race 2. We have the 4 lights on, and we don't actually get a good start. You see Fox, my teammate, gets a much better jump. Then looks like the clutch kind of grabs on him, and that kind of levels him. I think if he gets away as he did off the line without that kind of clutch grab, I think he has me into turn 1. We get into slipstream. You can see it's a 3-man FRT run into turn 1. We go a little bit deep, not as deep as Bunt. Unfortunately, Bunt has a bit of a bobble, has to release the brake and run on. But I think my island just got slightly taken by one of my teammates on the inside, which just let me go a little bit wide, and that left Foxer to retake the lead in the kind of flip-flop between 1 and 2. But immediately, and I'm thinking, right, we've got away clean, there's no one right on our back wheel. You know, Foxer was good pace, we're going to just sit with him, but he goes quite wide here, and I just turn it nicely. And then I just kind of have a moment to think, right, I have a good run here, let's just go for the inside, let's have a look. So I go for a look. Unfortunately, he's a massive slide on the rear, and he goes over the top. So 2 races, 2 crashes, unfortunately, for Foxer at turn 5. Now, you'll see a couple of people already behind have made a mistake, so already we seem to have a pretty big gap of nearly a second and a bit already. So it's turning into be a perfect little race. But we jump now to the end of what would be the first lap, and you can see half the field is out. There's only about 6 or 7 riders left. So at the time I did notice this, and I was thinking, because straight away when Foxer crashed, he was out. You can see Bunt is out, you can see there's other people out as well. So I'm thinking, was there a lot of disconnects on the start? Because I always have chat off, so I can't see who's disconnected and jump started. I don't like, because people have a love to join and rejoin and quit mid-race. So just these little notifications popping up my screen really take my island a lot. So I really don't like many things popping in and out on screen. So we're getting to this part now. You can see there's only like 5 people left in the race. I'm thinking surely it's going to get stopped. So I was kind of bracing forward. You can see here just before it does get stopped, there's only 3 of us left, but it was unfortunately it was stopped, and basically we had to go do another qualifying session for 5 minutes. I wasn't able to retake pole, which was kind of annoying because I qualified nearly 7/10 faster than the whole field, and now I'm in the middle of the front row, and I already gotten a great start, had done the hard work getting to the lead. But here we are once again now, our 3rd race start, and this time we get a decent start, much better than our teammate to our left. Our teammate to our right, who's unfortunately not running a skin because he's having a bit of a bike issue at the moment, Billy Jones gets a beautiful launch, but straight away into the slipstream. I know perfectly where to brake for turn 1. Get a nice lunge on him. He missed the race yesterday, so he's probably just missing a bit of race room and race time. Unfortunately, someone really far back just isn't making that corner, and I'm pretty lucky that I actually didn't kind of back out of that move into turn 1, because that would have been me getting absolutely murdered. But yeah, really, really unfortunate for Billy, because he had really, really strong pace, probably the fastest man in here, and wasn't able to show it in the early part, and he gets taken out pretty early there. So it was unfortunate, and yeah, someone just made a complete hash of turn 1. It's quite easily done. The run down to turn 1 is so long that it's hard to pick a marker, but the only thing I will say, we had a warm-up lap and we had a siding lap, so you kind of have to use them to pick your braking marker, or have an idea and feel it out how to brake into turn 1. You see, I kind of knew straight away that 150 meter boards was the kind of lay point of where I brake, and I could pinch a bit there, and that's how I managed to get the lead back off Billy. So there's just these little small things you kind of have to keep in mind when racing. You need to have some idea where to brake for turn 1. Unfortunately, after everyone got taken out, as you can see, the gap's just going up the front nearly every lap, second and a bit off Alpha Claw, so we're just taking time out every single lap. And that was literally it for the race. There was nothing. Now, this track was very green because we had to make a whole new lobby and just do a 5-minute qualifying. So before the race, there was probably at most 2 or 3 laps from all riders. So at most, it's probably 20 laps down on the track. So it was really green. So the pace wasn't as strong. But then I was thinking to myself, was it not strong? Because again, if you think of the second race, or in race 1, sorry, the second half, after the kind of pressure was relieved when the 2 riders behind crashed, I kind of ended up just rolling off a bit. I was thinking to myself, am I just riding to the advantage I have? You'll probably see in the top left there, Billy has made a very, very strong recovery back to P2, but unfortunately is 15.5, 16 seconds behind me at the moment. So on this last lap, I decided, you know what, we've plenty of time, we have enough time, I'm going to, or enough of a gap back, I'm going to push for lap. So 43.7 on the penultimate lap. Again, that's much quicker than we were doing yesterday, but I think I found something with the tyre, the rear tyre, just to maybe a slight pressure difference I could use that made it slightly better for the Sunday second race, and it felt just slightly better for me. So I was pretty confident that the tyre wouldn't be as much of an issue in race 2, and the pace actually seems much better towards the end, because most of the middle part of the race we were kind of doing pretty much 44 deads. We do the odd 43 and then back up to 44-1. Our race spread was a bit of a 43-6-7 to a 44 dead, so we're kind of in that range. So we're doing still very good pace considering the green track. But I just wanted to feel like I felt like I wasn't pushing hard enough. So the last lap, again, quite stupidly, and you can see the rear tire just lets go there and push me wide. That cost me probably a tenth. But up to the line, we ended up doing a 43.5, and it's 2 race wins in 2 days. It's been a hell of a week for me on GP bikes, and I must say it's not going to continue. I can tell when we go to Misano next week, it's going to be a much different story. But once again, it is P1 for me. Crazy set of races in 24 hours for me to get 2 wins against the strength of field that we had on Saturday and Sunday, and to take 2 pole positions is absolutely crazy. And we currently lead the championship with 52 points. So we got 25 for the win, times 2 is 50, and then we took the fastest lap twice, which got us 2 bonus points, which is something I didn't actually know until I saw these championship standings. But we're going to end it there. It's been a brilliant start to this Mesgp championship. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really easy to enjoy something when you're doing well and you have a turn of speed. But we go to Misano next, which is actually Adriatic. It's the base Misano in the Proposo game. So if anyone's obviously ridden that, you would have at some point, I'd imagine, when you first jumped on the game. It's really low grip, which means it's going to be very easy to crash. So it's going to be a much different sort of race weekend there. I think tyres will come into it a lot. It's going to be very hard to stay on the bike, but that's where we're going to leave it for round 1. Round 2 is again next weekend, so early next week out we'll have with the round 2 at Misano. But thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe. I shall catch you in a future video. Thanks for watching. So long, go forward.